This week on the Sports Desk, the playoffs are here. Count them, three volleyball squads in Torrance start their hunt for a CIF championship banner. With a pair of Pioneer League teams starting to find out it's a little crowded at the top of their league standings. One of those schools, the alma mater to a healthy chunk of the successful Warriors squad at Elko. Is it a pure coincidence that one of the top JUCO programs in the area is grooming college athletes from a pool dominated by former Torrance stars? And speaking of the next level, it's a phenomenon that's rapidly growing into one of the biggest and hottest businesses in sports, high school all-star games. The light shines on the nation's top prep football stars, and they're all coming to visit the South Bay. Hey there, Torrance. How's it going? Great to have you with us another week on the Sports Desk. I'm your host, Wan Hernandez, and we're going to start off this week with a little name recognition. I'm going to throw one out for you. Chad Wojtek. Probably doesn't ring a bell. That's because he graduated high school in 2011 from Tennessee's Cleveland High School. And during his 4 years as quarterback for the Blue Raiders, he paid to attend as many as 16 elite camps and 5 combines, learning and training with the top prep football players from around the country. The camps eventually filtered him into a little nationally televised game for the cream of the crop in high school football, something called the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. At the end of it all, Wojtek was handed 15 scholarship offers from around the country. Fast forward to fall of 2013, after all the camps and that one All-Star game, he's wrapping up his redshirt freshman year with the Pitt Panthers. Of course, that's just one athlete from the opposite side of the country, but prep All-Star games are becoming a massive business, and they're a little closer to home than we may realize.
I want to create this rivalry, Coach.
Did you get the first pick last year?
I did get the first pick last year, so hopefully we get the same result.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
When an NFL tradition trickles into prep sports culture, more specifically South Bay prep football, it is yet more proof that of all sports, football is the most booming business out there. In 2014, Redondo High School plays host to B2G Sports West Coast Bowl. 100 of the nation's top football talents converging on the South Bay. All eyes on the webcast of an NFL-style draft to see which 100 will make the cut.
Rewind 3 years ago, we did an all-star game that was just California-based, Southern California-based at that. And looking at the competition, the only way we were going to position ourselves a little higher was to take it to the West Coast.
Last year we had done the draft, but it was a lot less formal. It wasn't recorded. He was in San Diego, and we got on a conference call. And it was a lot of fun, actually. We had some coaches there, and it took us about 2 hours, but we really had a good time. We were rolling. And one of the things that I had suggested, I was like, wow, you should have had a camera there. So a lot more interest this way, too, and kids get to see themselves. It's pretty cool.
Until 2001, not a single national high school all-star game existed. Just over a decade later, B2G Sports is working its way into the thick of things alongside the U.S. Army All-American Bowl and Under Armour game. Complete with this webcast of the draft, the game itself, and even a celebrity 7-on-7 game come January. All a product of B2G's elite camps and combines designed to prep the best of the best for college ball. The West Coast Bowl, their final hurrah.
We have a national presence with the BTG Elite Camp in terms of inviting top prospects from all over the country. So we just picked from that same pool. It was just right in line with what we were already doing, and it worked out perfect. Now, the draft, that was something that, being the new all-star game around, we kind of had to come with a niche that was a little unique and a little different.
For athletes like Diamond Ranch's Cami Delp, the bowl game won't attract any more suitors. He does already have the entire Pac-12 knocking on his door. But it will give him a chance to step onto the field with a level of talent well above his high school's competition. It's a widespread belief that the talent curve from prep to college football is a greater challenge than from college to the NFL. So these teammates will be Delp's first exposure to a higher level of play.
I'd see it as more of a start before college ball because, I'm playing against recruits from all over the nation. So, I'm going to be playing against guys I may see, may not see at the next level. So it's pretty much introducing kind of factors.
So while fans get to see up-and-coming athletes and the bowl games that celebrate them, for these young stars, it's just one more step towards a world of opportunities.
Just basically looking for the factor of like, if I can deal in a small town, or am I more of a city life, such as like, UCLA or Seattle, Washington, especially the academics also, like communications majors, broadcasting majors basically. So just mainly looking at those things, and then from there on we'll see where we go on from there.
Of the 200 players admitted into the West Coast Bowl draft, only 100 of them were selected for teams. As of now, Torrance has no representatives for the local game. West High's Craig Nouse is still a possible addition to one of those teams, but that won't be determined until B2G moves closer to the game. Matt Bozen played in 2012's West Coast Bowl at the Home Depot Center. He's redshirting his freshman season at Boise State, looking to do big things on the Broncos defense in 2014. And speaking of the West Warriors, they wrapped up their regular season last week, a game better than 2012 in their overall record and league record. Massive rout over Lusinger holds on to that third spot in the Bay League behind Palos Verdes and Mira Costa, so they are playoff bound. Random fact, the Palos Verdes, they've won 3 straight Bay League championships, 18 consecutive wins in the Bay League. That covers almost 4 full seasons now. Their chances of continuing that streak increase because this was West's final season in the Bay League. North and Torrance threw down as well to see who would lock up second place in the Pioneer League. The Saxons secure second place with a crucial win. That seed earns them a home playoff game, and more on these playoffs in just a second. The Tartars held a 19-14 halftime lead before North came out in the third quarter and exploded. 26 unanswered points the rest of the way for the Saxons to cap off a near-perfect Pioneer League's run. Their sole league loss on the year came against Pioneer champs El Segundo. Meanwhile, that El Segundo team hosted the South Spartans. South's final game of the season after their loss to North made it impossible for them to finish above North or Torrance in the final week. Brandon Chavez put up a big night for South. He finished with 148 yards and 2 TDs on just 18 carries. Bishop Montgomery, they're not done, but they do fall in the regular season game against Verbum Day, a matchup to grab second place in the Del Rey League. The Knights went into the locker room at halftime down 32-7. Major rally caps on in the second half as they made it a one-possession game down the stretch. 38-31 the final score, with Robbie Hu notching 2 touchdowns in the second half. Just not quite enough, so the Knights will have to settle for a third place seed from their league. So why do I keep dropping all this and that about seeds and league standings? Well, duh, it determined the playoff pairings we've all been speculating for weeks now. Take a look at who's headed where in their brackets. The Northwest Division bracket featuring 3 Torrance schools. Bishop Montgomery is going to travel to Oak Park. Had they won the second place matchup, they'd be hosting a game this weekend against Nordhoff. Interesting side note there, that could have set up a potential second round matchup against Torrance if they can pull off an upset against Azusa on the road. Instead, the earliest Bishop could meet another Torrance team in the playoffs going to be all the way down the road in the CIF's final round on December 7th. North, Torrance's sole home game of the first round. Again, that second place seed having a huge impact already. They host Bishop Diego on Friday night. Meanwhile, West High going to be doing their thing over in the Northern Division bracket. They're going to pay Canyon a visit over the weekend. So a nice little drive ahead for the Warriors in the first round. We know it's all about taking it one game at a time, but heck, we don't play the games here at the Sports Desk. We just get to talk about them. So I know what we all want to see. I promise you, West is still foaming at the mouth for a chance to one-up Palos Verdes. Remember, 18 straight wins in the Bay League for PV. 2 wins is all that separates the West Warriors and the Sea Kings from another playoff matchup. That would be in the semifinals on November 29th. Fingers crossed, because we know that'd be an exciting one. Okay, break time. When we get back, we're going to check in with some volleyball. The girls getting ready for playoffs as well, and for the second consecutive year, one squad has fought their way to the top, making things a little crowded with their rivals who used to own the Pioneer League.
The environment is my passion. Every day, I live for the outdoors and all of its challenges. That's why I enlisted in the Coast Guard. Now, I serve to protect the environment and defend my country. It's like I was born for this.
Were you born ready for a greater challenge? Find out at GoCoastGuard.com.
Lee Major, did you get your flu vaccine yet?
With the flu season coming up, we all have to help protect ourselves by getting the flu vaccine. If you're over 65 like me, you gotta even be more careful. Our immune system may not be as strong as it used to be, so We have to do everything we can to keep the flu from catching up with us. So ask about your vaccine options, because if you're a tough guy like me, you may need a tough vaccine. Visit the National Council on Aging at ncoa.org/flu to learn more about vaccine options for people 65 and older.
What about my privacy?
It's protected.
And the music I listen to. Protected.
What about how I wear my hair? And the things I say and write?
The Constitution protects your rights.
It isn't an old, fading piece of paper.
It's a living document.
The Constitution says there are 3 branches of government.
So we're kind of like the 4th branch of government.
We are the future of America.
Find out how you can become part of Constitution Day.
For me.
For all. For real.
Go to aclu.org/Constitution Day.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Sports Desk. Time to talk a little volleyball here with the girls around town getting ready for the playoffs as well. Since 2000, share of or the outright Pioneer League title every season. That was North High's first year with new coach Mark Pioch, and since then, the Saxons have had their ups and downs before finally tearing their way up to the top alongside the rival Spartans. South isn't the only team dominating the Pioneer League now. For the second consecutive year, co-Pioneer League champs, North and South.
For the second straight year, North girls volleyball team split the Pioneer League championship with South, led by their coach, Mark Pioch.
Well, I mean, obviously, we'd like to be up there by ourselves, but, you know, in a tough league with a very good team like South and El Segundo and Torrance, you know, it's good to be champs. And back-to-back is not easy to do. That's why people don't do it very often. So I'm very proud of the girls.
It's not what we wanted, but I'm okay with it. We didn't play as hard as we were supposed to the first game, so they deserved to beat us on that one, but we came back and got the second one, and that's all that really matters as long as we have the title.
The veteran coach has an overall record of 2-10 against the Spartans.
I mean, I was coaching 6 years ago, and we weren't winning, you know, so what's changed? Not necessarily me, but the players and the players' attitude. You know, we've always had great players, and we've always battled with South, but just never seemed to be able to get over that hump. So I don't know that it was necessarily me. You know, I've got great assistant coaches. It's really about the whole program.
These young athletes have a lot of respect for him and his coaching staff.
Well, he's an amazing coach, and he's just a great person to talk to, and he really knows how to talk to us when he's coaching, so it's pretty good.
He's really stressed to us to stay together as a team. Like earlier this year, we had a team bonding activity at UCI, and I think it really helped us build chemistry between each other.
Despite the recent success, there's still one more goal to accomplish.
We wanted to win our tournament, win league, and win CIF. So right now we're 1-1. I'd like to be 2-1 when it's all said and done.
The Saxons hope to meet their South Bay rivals one more time this year.
If you guys meet with South again in the playoffs, are you guys taking that W?
Absolutely. We're ready. We're going to do it.
What are you guys going to do to South?
We're going to beat them and hopefully win a CIF championship.
Thanks for that, Tamara. Both squads getting the postseason fiasco started this week, hosting first-round playoff matches. And, of course, we are able to devote a good chunk of time on this show to some of the successful volleyball programs right here in Torrance with one team, the El Camino Warriors, consistently putting together solid season after solid season in the South Coast Conference. Kind of makes sense, though, right? Local prep athletes filter into the local JUCO programs, and voila, you've got a recipe for a virtual all-star team from all corners of the South Bay. And look at this year's Warriors roster, though. Of the 16 players that don blue this season, you can't help but notice it's not a team built from every corner of the South Bay. It's actually a team built on what we're going to start to call the Torrance Pipeline.
There's no denying that team chemistry is one of the best features of the Lady Warriors' dominating volleyball team. So how does a team achieve such cohesiveness at the junior college level? Well, these girls cheated a little bit. They had a head start. Of the 16 players listed on Elco's roster, 6 of them went to North Torrance High School. It doesn't seem like it could be a coincidence, but these girls say they didn't do it on purpose either.
A lot of us didn't necessarily know where we wanted, what four-year university wanted to go to, so El Camino, this is a good place to go if you're unsure.
Like a couple of us play club together, but we just decided to come here, and it's a good opportunity to work on our level and get to the highest level as soon as we can so we can move to the next level.
We recruit from all the local high schools, and we've had great kids from North. We've had state champions and most valuable players, and they're a solid program. They just have a good student body, and they put some good athletes on the floor.
Having familiar faces around helped make the transition from high school to college a smooth one.
It was good to have it because we weren't as nervous and stuff coming on a team not knowing anybody. So at least we knew a few people.
It's pretty similar. We don't have any difficulties transitioning, and plus since we played together, it wasn't that hard.
A lot of the girls are used to each other. They know how each other play, and definitely the trust is there within one another. They know which girls are going to take which balls and stuff like that.
All of us connected really well during summer and during off season and all that stuff, but it's really fun having people that we know already playing with us again.
But ask head coach LaValle Pattison and she'll tell you, it doesn't matter which high school you came from. Once you're at Elko, you're hers, and you're going to play exactly how Coach Pattison wants you to.
They come in with a lot of preconceived ideas about how their teammates used to play in high school, and we pretty much change everything about what they thought they could do before, and we try to make them think that they can do anything they want to do and not to put limits on anybody, and everybody performs pretty well.
There is one thing everyone can agree on, though. Volleyball is best when played with friends.
It's really fun playing with them again because we missed last year a lot.
We're having a lot of fun, and we like it.
From North Torrance High School to El Camino College, the chemistry between these Warriors is undeniable. But for now, they're just looking to win a championship. From El Camino College, I'm Jenny Phillips for the Sports Desk.
Thanks for that, Jenny. Quick look at the full Torrance influence. 16 women make up the Elko roster with a 3-person coaching staff. Of those 19, 10 are from Torrance schools, 2 assistant coaches, and a total of 8 athletes contributing to a Warrior team that is leading the South Coast Conference. The ladies at Elko will be wrapping up their regular season with the playoffs starting right around Thanksgiving. All right, break number 2 right now. We showed you what it's like at the next level when teammates get to stick together. What about when sisters get to play side by side? We're going to meet them in just a minute when we get back.
Here we are, 2013. We all depend on technology to communicate, to bank, and none of us know how to read and write code.
The first program I wrote asked things like, what's your favorite color? Or how old are you?
I wrote a program to play tic-tac-toe.
I first learned how to make a green circle and a red square appear on the screen.
You're just trying to make something, trying to transfer something from your mind to the computer or to a tablet. It's an experience.
The whole limit in the system is just that there just aren't enough people who are trained and have these skills today.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You know, you're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
What can just $1 buy? $1 can go a long way, so imagine what 10 could do. Item donations distract the relief effort and can cost more to ship than what they are actually worth. So stop sending canned goods and start sending cash, because just $1 can make all the difference.
Hello, welcome back once again to the Sports Desk. You got a good grasp on the postseason setup for most of Torrance so far, but there's still just one team we haven't talked about yet. Under first-year head coach Keegan Featherstone, the Bishop Montgomery Knights have battled their way to a second-place finish in the Delray League. They'll host a first-round playoff match with 2 members of the Knights in particular cheering one another on.
It's not very common to have your sister on the same team, let alone play the same position. Sister setters Miranda and Madison Reynolds have been the heart of Bishop Montgomery's volleyball team, and although they compete for playing time, they've been each other's biggest supporters since day one.
It is fun having my sister there. It was a little difficult in the beginning having someone else step into my spot, but it's helped me adjust really well having someone that I can trust be in this spot.
After watching her, I was always Miranda's little kid sister, like going to all the practices and the tournaments, and I was always there. Like I was always watching and learning from her.
Madison and Miranda's dad, Don Reynolds, has been a huge influence in their volleyball careers.
He's taught me basically everything that I know. He's taught me all the fundamentals. He taught me how to serve my first ball. He taught me everything that I know, and he's definitely always been my biggest fan.
These sisters might share the same position and passion for volleyball,
but they are quite the opposite.
Miranda is definitely the louder one out of the two of us. She's very bubbly and she always wants to try new things. So she's usually the one like bringing me out of my shell a little bit.
Maddie is definitely more reserved. Her sense of humor is kind of more sarcastic, and she's very, very competitive.
For any coach, it might be difficult to determine playing time between two talented players, especially if they're related to each other. But according to Coach Featherstone, the Reynolds sisters might compete every day, but will be there for each other at any moment.
When Maddie found out that she had made varsity, she burst into tears. And one of the first things that Miranda had said too was how happy she was for her sister and how proud she was of her.
My mom told me that you guys have to be each other's biggest fans during the season because no one has the connection that you guys do. And so that has really been my attitude playing with her this season.
Love it. Thank you for that story, Raina. Now, time for our Haley Outen, who's going to bring us something a little different this week. They're not athletes, technically, but that doesn't make them any less devoted, and they do earn varsity letters from their schools. Some of them play on different club teams or varsity sports other parts of the year, but every fall, there's no group of students on just about any campus as dedicated to what they do. Football may rule Friday nights, but for this next group, it's not uncommon during fall evenings to hear the phrase, "Somebody get the football team off the marching band field."
For any sports fan, when you think of Friday nights, high school football is what comes to mind. But aside from the crosstown rivalries and big tackles, there are other components that help create that special atmosphere under the lights on Fridays. Tonight, we take a close look at the South High Spartan Marching Band.
Our band started off pretty small like 10 years ago, but then it just kept on growing, and right now we're about 200 something people right now. And so we're in the largest division for our competitions, SCJA.
And this year, the Spartans have used their large numbers to execute a one-of-a-kind halftime show.
Over the past 4 years, we do a different halftime show every year, and this year we've incorporated more props.
Our halftime show is called 12 Seconds to the Moon.
And it's about flight, going to the moon, of course.
And it starts off with the Wright brothers.
We start to show off, we're creating the rocket ship.
It's our first really historically based show, and I really like all the samples they're called, which are the little snippets of the speeches or something that comes on. I feel like that really ties the show together.
And then we finally end as we are on the moon and then going home back from the moon.
My favorite part is all of the dance and emotion we put into our performance and how we incorporate our movement to match the music.
It's really visual. It's a crowd pleaser.
Everybody knows the football team is out at practice every day. But in order to please the crowd every Friday night, there is a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes when it comes to creating the perfect game day atmosphere.
For us, we're like a work hard, play hard sort of team, so we're not all serious all the time.
We work really, really hard. We condition a lot, and it's not just spinning flags, it's also dancing.
It's a big commitment. You need to be able to commit 20 hours a week at times with the football games and Saturday competitions that take all day. It's a pretty big commitment. It's just like any other sport.
But for each of these Spartans, there is a certain drive that makes playing in the band so special.
Definitely performing and hearing the crowd scream afterwards. I like playing, but it makes me happy. It's what I want to do. I just want to play music. Being together as a group, when you really get your show uniform together, and it sounds really cool. It's really neat to kind of see everything come together and all the time that you spent working on it just finally click.
Sure, sometimes the band might go unnoticed, but what if there was no high school marching band to accompany that football team every Friday night?
I think it just makes it a lot more lively, having music. Sure, you can have the music playing through the speakers, but having a live environment, I think just really hypes everything up. I think we could really pump up the players, and we just also have a good time playing with everyone else in the band.
We're the loudest for sure, and when we're not here, it's just something missing, and I hear it from the football players a lot.
I think we bring a big part of just the entertainment in general, as well as the football and the excitement of the game, also the excitement of the show.
We're always going to have a big crowd just because we're sitting there, and our music I feel is pretty exciting. It gets the football players hyped up, and I don't know, it just brings a lot of school spirit, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
The football, the music, the performances, but most importantly the school spirit. These are the things that make up that unforgettable feeling that football fans all over the country associate with Friday nights under the lights. From South High School, I'm Haley Outen for the Sports Desk.
Thanks, Haley. Cheers to all the talented young musicians around town that make Friday nights just that much more enjoyable. And as you can tell, we're not about just highlights and game scores here on the Sports Desk. We want to showcase every aspect of the sports community here in this great town, so reach out and share your story with us. We just might put you on the show here. Get to know the athletes that make Torrance so great and get to know the people here at the Sports Desk a little better by following us on Facebook. You can even keep up with some of our staff here via Twitter when the reporters check in with updates on our Facebook page from games, events, you name it, we will share it. All right, everybody, that wraps another week on the Sports Desk. We will see you next time. Have a good one.